The Addams Family has been delighting fans for decades, from Charles Addams' original 1930s cartoons to the 1960s TV show. However, the 1991 film brought the spooky family to a new generation and has become a cult classic, despite going $5 million over budget and production setbacks such as health problems of multiple people involved. The success of the first movie led to a sequel, The Addams Family Values, 2 years later, with a third movie being planned but later changed. In this video, we'll be going through where the original movie cast is today, what they've been up to since filming, and some surprising behind-the-scenes stories you might not know. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. And please make sure you subscribe to my channel because it really does make a huge difference. Raul Julia as Gomez Addams. Raul Julia was a Puerto Rican actor who starred as the lovable, doting husband Gomez Addams. Raul was bilingual in Spanish and English from a young age and developed a love for Shakespeare. He started his acting career in Puerto Rico, but a fellow actor saw him performing at a nightclub and convinced him to move to the US to expand his opportunities, which he did in 1964. Raul performed in many Broadway and theatre shows, and even starred opposite actress Meryl Streep. He also gained prominence after his performance in movies such as Kiss of the Spider-Woman and smaller roles on TV shows such as Sesame Street.
Let me show you how. In Spanish. In Spanish, okay. Estoy contento, that means I'm happy. Estoy triste, that means I'm sad.
In 1991, Raul became a household name playing Gomez Addams in The Addams Family. His portrayal of the flamboyant and passionately romantic husband brought new depth to the character and resonated with audiences worldwide. He reprised the role in the 1993 sequel Addams Family Values, delivering an energetic performance despite battling serious illness. He was diagnosed with stomach cancer around the time of the filming of Addams Family, although this was not publicly disclosed until later, and he suffered from poor health throughout his final projects. He underwent surgery in 1993 and had lost a considerable amount of weight, and he apparently had problems while eating on the set of Addams Family. There was also a notable production hiccup during the filming of the first movie, when a blood vessel in his eye burst, and the crew worked around this until he recovered. In October 1994, Raul tragically passed away at the age of 54 following a stroke while contending with cancer. At the time of his death, it was disclosed that he had been privately battling with the disease for around 3 years. Addams Family Values was his penultimate movie role, the last being Street Fighter. His death prompted an outpouring of love, especially in Puerto Rico, where thousands of people attended his funeral. Fellow actors remembered him fondly. For example, his on-screen wife, Anjelica Huston, called him, quote, the perfect gentleman, noting he was, quote, always the first on set and the last to leave, and highlighted his singing and dancing between takes. His other co-stars said that he had a, quote, big heart, never complained, and brought a new energy to the movies. So although Raul's career was tragically cut short, his legacy of playing the quirky but lovable Gomez Addams will live on forever. Anjelica Huston as Morticia Addams. Anjelica Huston is an American actress who played the seductive yet mysterious Morticia Addams. Anjelica starred in many movies directed by her father, John Huston, including the movie Prezzi's Honor in 1985, winning an Academy Award. This made her the third generation of her family to win an Academy Award after her father, John, and her grandfather, Walter. She also had other notable appearances, such as playing the Grand High Witch in the movie The Witches in 1990, based on the book by author Roald Dahl. However, it was her embodiment of Morticia Addams in The Addams Family and its sequel that cemented her place in pop culture. Critics praised her gothic sophistication, deadpan humour, and the maternal warmth she brought to the character. But Anjelica apparently endured considerable discomfort during filming. To achieve Morticia's signature look, she wore a metal corset that made it difficult for her to sit down or rest. They also used invasive makeup techniques, including elastic straps to pull up the corner of her eyes, which caused severe headaches, rashes, and prolonged preparation time. Despite these issues though, Anjelica said she thoroughly enjoyed working on the Addams Family movies and remembers her time fondly. From the early 2000s onwards, she became a frequent collaborator of director Wes Anderson, appearing in several of his movies. As her career evolved, Anjelica continued taking on diverse roles, such as major voice work in the Tinkerbell animated franchise. She also had appearances in Daddy Daycare and a notable role as the character named The Director in John Wick Chapter 3, a role she'll reprise in an upcoming spin-off named Ballerina. Beyond her on-screen work, Anjelica has also written 2 acclaimed memoirs. They dive into her career and personal life, including her turbulent 17-year on and off-again relationship with actor Jack Nicholson. Their highly publicised relationship ended definitively in 1990 due to Nicholson's repeated infidelities. Today, at age 73, Anjelica enjoys a quieter life, largely away from the spotlight. In 2025, she revealed that she was diagnosed with cancer in 2019 and has been cancer-free for 4 years. She's also involved in activism, campaigning for human as well as animal rights. Following the success of the Addams Family movies, the network released a 3rd movie named Addams Family Reunion in 1998. The movie was supposed to be a pilot for a spin-off TV series. Anjelica, as well as Christopher Lloyd, who played Uncle Fester, were asked to reprise their roles, but they both declined out of respect for Raul, who had died a few years earlier. The movie was largely recast, with the only original cast members being Carol Strauchan, who played Lurch, and Christopher Hart's Hand, who played Thing. The movie was released straight to video and was poorly received by critics. In more recent times, Anjelica reunited with her Addams Family co-stars at the Los Angeles Comic-Con in 2024, which marked the first time the cast had all appeared together at any fan convention. A photo was even shared of them on Christopher Lloyd's social media with the caption, "The family that haunts together stays together." Jimmy Workman as Pugsley Addams. Jimmy Workman is an American retired child actor who played the role of the curious but lovable Pugsley Addams. Born in 1980, Jimmy was only 11 years old when he played the role that would later define his acting career. Jimmy had accompanied his sister Chanel, who was auditioning for the part of Wednesday. While she didn't land the role, director Barry Sonnenfeld and producer Scott Rudin spotted Jimmy playing on set and offered him the role of Pugsley. On set, Jimmy formed genuine relationships with his co-stars. He later recalled how he and Christina Ricci, who played Wednesday, spent downtime racing golf carts around the Paramount lot, sometimes arguing like real siblings, but mostly enjoying a bond that mirrored their on-screen relationship. He reprised his role for the sequel, Addams Family Values, but during the 2-year period in between the movies, he experienced a big growth spurt and he had dropped 40 pounds, which presented challenges for the costume department. After the success of the Addams Family movies, Jimmy appeared in a handful of other projects, including small roles in As Good as It Gets in 1997 and The Biggest Fan in 2002. When he turned 18, Jimmy got access to a trust fund which held his earnings from the Addams Family movies. He said, quote, "I went through a stage where I went buck wild. I got all my partying out my system." Jimmy gradually stepped away from acting, and by the early 2000s, he had retired from the industry altogether, preferring a quieter life away from the spotlight. He has since worked behind the camera in technical roles and maintained a relatively low profile. However, Jimmy did make headlines again in the 2010s, not for his acting, but due to the family drama involving his younger sister, Ariel Winter, who played Alex Dunphy on the hit sitcom Modern Family. In 2012, Ariel, who was 14 at the time, became the subject of a bitter guardianship battle after allegations of abuse were made against her mother. Ariel's older sister, Chanel, was granted temporary custody. Jimmy got involved by publicly defending his mother, insisting he had never witnessed abuse and that their conflicts were, quote, normal mother-daughter arguments. He later took legal action himself, filing for custody of Ariel, and he accused his sister Chanel of exploiting Ariel's earnings and allowing her to be, quote, publicly sexualized. The dispute was highly publicized, with family members making conflicting statements through the media and in court. Jimmy was reportedly visibly emotional during the court proceedings, and at one point he left the courtroom in tears when Chanel was granted guardianship of Ariel. Ultimately, Chanel retained custody, and Ariel later became legally emancipated at age 17. The fallout reportedly fractured the siblings' relationships, with Ariel expressing that some wounds within the family were beyond repair. Despite the turmoil, Jimmy Workman has largely stayed out of the public eye in recent years, but for fans, he will always be remembered as the lovable Pugsley Addams. Christina Ricci as Wednesday Addams. Christina Ricci is an American actress who played the deadpan and macabre Wednesday Addams. Christina started acting at the age of 8 when she was discovered by a local theatre critic when she starred in a school production of The 12 Days of Christmas, and she later made her movie debut in the movie Mermaids in 1990. Christina was 11 years old when she starred as Wednesday Addams, with her character capturing hearts and becoming the embodiment of gothic cool. Despite her age, Christina was an unexpectedly influential presence on set. The production of the first Addams Family movie was plagued by multiple challenges, such as multiple script rewrites and a production budget that ballooned from $25 million to $30 million. Reportedly, the original script revealed at the end of the movie that Uncle Fester was in fact an imposter and was not the real Fester. Raul and Anjelica were apparently, quote, outraged about this and wanted Fester to be the real Fester. The director asked Christopher Lloyd, who played Fester, if he cared whether his character was the real Fester or not, and Christopher said he didn't care. There was going to be a line at the end of the movie by Gomez which said, quote, family is a state of mind, not biology, so welcome to our family. At the table read, the actors objected, and the director said that Christopher doesn't care, so why do they care? But Anjelica nudged Christina to deliver the cast's final argument. Christina said that the audience would be left emotionally adrift, wondering where the real Fester was, and questioned why Gomez would give up his search for his real brother due to an imposter. This wisdom from the young actress is actually what convinced the director to change the ending to make Fester the real Fester. On set, Christina was praised for her commitment and talent. The director even called her a, quote, formidable intellectual and a, quote, box office savvy. Christina later went on to have a successful career and appeared in other hit movies such as Casper. Yet behind the glamorous facade, there was a tougher reality. Over the years, Christina has reflected on how acting served as an escape from her, quote, horrendous early home life. She described her father as a, quote, narcissistic failed cult leader who was physically violent, so her time working on movie sets were her only moments of peace. Also, during an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Christina shared a disturbing story that at age 11, she and her friends would prank call the mattress store 1-800-Mattress. They did it so much that they even had a regular worker they interacted with named Jared. However, one of her, quote, idiot friends decided to give Jared their address, and he sent an unsolicited photo of his penis to them in the mail. They decided to keep it a secret and stopped prank calling the mattress store, but Christina called Jared a, quote, pervert. As Christina matured, her roles became darker and more daring, and she transitioned into adult characters that leaned into more unusual and dark storylines. Outside of her acting career, Christina's private life has also been the centre of a lot of media attention. In 2020, she filed for divorce from her husband, producer James Heerdigan, citing, quote, severe physical and emotional abuse, and apparently many of these abusive acts took place in front of their young son. She even shared photos of bruises inflicted by James and said that it was worse because this was during lockdown, so she was trapped in the house with her abuser. She eventually got a restraining order against James and was awarded full custody of their son in 2021. More recently, Christina candidly shared during an interview that while she was filming the show Yellow Jackets, she was commuting to and from the set in Canada so much that it affected her relationship with her 2-year-old daughter, who she had, quote, no bond with, which was very upsetting to her. On a more positive note though, in a full circle moment that delighted fans, Christina returned to the Addams Family universe in Netflix's smash hit series Wednesday in 2022. Although she didn't reprise her role as Wednesday Addams, she played the character Marilyn Thornhill, a teacher with sinister secrets. Fans loved her involvement in the show and felt like it was a passing of the torch to Jenna Ortega, who now embodies Wednesday for a new generation. However, for many fans, Christina will always be remembered for her amazing portrayal of the dark but witty Wednesday Addams, which launched her widely successful career. Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester. Christopher Lloyd is an American actor who played Gomez's long-lost, shy and sometimes bumbling brother, Fester Addams. Before the Addams Family, Christopher was already a well-known actor, renowned for his iconic roles such as Doc Brown in the Back to the Future trilogy in the 80s and 90s. Christopher's first ever movie role was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which starred Jack Nicholson. Christopher also had roles in other successful projects such as Taxi and Star Trek III. But for many, his role as Uncle Fester remains one of his most beloved roles. During production of The Addams Family, Christopher initially wore heavy prosthetics to make his face look rounder, but the prosthetics limited his facial expressions. Christopher once shared that he thought he was originally going to be fired and replaced because one day the director called him and asked to have a meeting with him, and he sounded concerned. When Christopher arrived for the meeting, there was a man in the office who apparently already looked exactly like Fester without doing anything to himself because he was, quote, roly-poly and bald. But much to Christopher's relief, the director simply wanted to meet with him to explain that they had decided to ditch the prosthetics because they were limiting his facial expressions and his performance. Since the Addams Family, Christopher has remained prolific over the years and has appeared in many projects such as Dennis the Menace and more recently The Mandalorian. He's also done a lot of voiceover work in animated movies such as DuckTales and Anastasia. Christopher's personal life has also seen its own twists and turns. He's been married 5 times, and one of his ex-wives sued him in 2002 for unpaid alimony. In 2008, a devastating wildfire destroyed Christopher's home in Montecito, California. Now aged 86, he lives with his wife Lisa, who he married in 2016, after meeting in 2012 when she was the real estate agent selling his home. Fast forward to today, and Christopher has now come full circle within the Addams Family universe. In season 2 of Netflix's show Wednesday, he played the role of Professor Orloff, Nevermore Academy's longest-serving faculty member. This made Christopher the second original Addams Family cast member to appear in Wednesday after Christina Ricci. This role delighted fans and showcased his enduring bond with the franchise, and for many, he will always be remembered as Uncle Fester. So there you go, there was a video detailing what the cast of the Addams Family movies has been up to since the movies came out. Are you a fan of the Addams Family movies? And did any of the information in this video surprise you? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to get early access to my videos as well as other benefits, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. It just costs a few dollars a month and it really helps support my channel, and I'll leave a link to that in the description. Please make sure you like and comment on this video to help tell the algorithm this is a great video, and please make sure you subscribe to my channel because it really does make a huge difference. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in a future video. Thank you, bye!